So Anthony Joshua knocks out Konstantin Airich in the third round. The first two rounds of this fight were the most competitive rounds of Anthony Joshua's career so far. I know that's not really saying much because he's been blasting people out very easily, and the rounds that he's had previous to this have all been incredibly one-sided. But nonetheless, Airich was a little bit better defensively than most of his previous opponents, and probably a little bit tougher. Airich looked like he did actually come to win this fight. In the first round, he was landing a nice counter left hook to the body. When Joshua would let his right hand go, Airich would roll and then come up with his left hook to the body. So he was doing nice little cute things in there and making it a little bit interesting. He still didn't win the first two rounds, but he was at least firing back and giving Joshua something to think about. In the post-fight interview, Joshua said that he wanted to take his time. He wanted to go 8 rounds. He didn't want to rush anything. Eddie Hearn also said Joshua could have ended the fight in the first round. Maybe he could have, but I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But the one thing I will say is, as with all fighters, I'm always looking at the positive and the negative. And obviously, Joshua's very green at the moment. He's got plenty of time. There's absolutely no need to rush him. But I'm worried that he might get rushed because Eddie Hearn's saying, oh, this guy's being moved very quickly and he just takes care of people so easily. There's weaknesses there. There's flaws there which need to be ironed out. And I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. The trainer that he's with right now, Tony Sims, is not going to be able to iron out the flaws. In fact, I think he's teaching him certain flaws. One thing that I saw in this fight is Joshua's movement. His feet are very close together and his movement is a bit erratic. It's a bit haphazard. He tends to move side to side, not really knowing why and when. Not really knowing why he's moving side to side and when he should really do it. I would like to see his movement more calculated and measured than it was and get his feet a little further apart. A good comparison would be Amir Khan before Amir Khan was with Virgil Hunter. Before he was with Hunter, he was moving all over the place and actually moving himself into trouble. But as you saw in Khan's last fight against Collazo, his movement was much more measured. It was much more precise. He wasn't wasting a lot of motion. And that's what I see with Anthony Joshua at the moment. He's wasting a lot of motion. Even his head movement, like when he's on the bag, I've watched him on the bag. And I've seen Tony Sims, his trainer, tell him, move your head constantly before you throw your shot. The guy's 6'7", 6'6", 6'7". You don't need to waste all that motion. A big guy like that can't move his head constantly left and right for 12 rounds. Okay, you're wasting motion. If you don't need to move your head constantly, don't do it. When the guy's throwing shots, that's when you move your head. But this guy's moving his head like, all the time, basically. Well, that's what Tony Sims is trying to teach him. It's wasted motion. For a big guy like that, you want nice, precise movements. Of course you want head movement, but you want it at the right time. You want foot movement to be calculated and moving in the right direction, moving away from danger. When you're moving just for the sake of moving, that's when you can run into shots. That's when opponents can start timing your movement, can start predicting where you're going to move. And that's when they can catch you off guard. So your movement needs to be a lot more calculated than that. So this Tony Sims guy, no disrespect to him, but I don't think this guy's going to take Joshua to where he needs to be. I want Joshua to be with a more experienced coach. And sadly, in boxing, this is the way it always seems to be. But sadly, in boxing, guys don't tend to change trainers until they lose. And it's probably going to be the same with Joshua. Unless he's in there in a fight where he has a serious scare or loses, then he's not going to change Tony Sims as his trainer. That is a shame because I don't think this guy's the right trainer for Anthony Joshua. Some people are going to say to me, Hurtman, stop being a doom and gloom merchant. Look, I'm not being a doom and gloom merchant. My job here on my channel is to analyze fights and analyze fighters, and I have to look at the good and the bad. I'm not here to just, champion this fighter or champion that fighter and just only say good things about them. This is not a cheerleader channel. Yes, it's boxing analysis. And like I say, he's got plenty of time to get rid of those flaws. Plenty of time. But he needs the right tuition. If he's not given the right tuition, then them flaws are going to remain. Against a guy like Airich in this kind of level of opposition, you're going to get away with stuff like that. But as you move up in class, You're not going to get away with it. And people are going to start taking advantage of these things. And you'll see that anyway. You're going to see that because he's not going to leave Tony Sims. You're going to see people are going to start taking advantage of some of the flaws that he has. And he's going to start finding himself in very, very tough situations, which he could avoid if he had the right tuition. He has all the physical attributes that you could possibly wish for, but needs the right tuition, man. Anyway, that's just my little rant. Drop your comments below. I'm sure some people completely disagree. That's all good, but that's my point of view anyway. Yeah, let me know how you feel. This is Hatman. I'm out.